Good morning and welcome to Joe Stunner Boxing. We have a second undisputed heavyweight title fight in a week. Last week, Usyk versus Dubois, the rematch, that little disagreement that happened in front of 90,000 people at Wembley in London. Now we have the undisputed female heavyweight title fight with Claressa Shields and Ms. Daniels, Lani Daniels. This is the heavyweight division where there are 17 active female heavyweights in the world, not in Claressa's gym or Ms. Daniels' gym, but in the world. All right. But of course, it's comparable to, Usyk versus Dubois, the rematch. Now, you'll know that this channel, if you follow this channel, supports women's boxing wholeheartedly, 100%. But I really don't care for bullshit. And it doesn't matter who's saying it, which fighter, which fan, what gender they are. I don't give a damn what generation they are. I really don't care. I don't put up with nonsense. And Claressa Shields has said in recent interviews that she feels she is close to being compared to Muhammad Ali. Okay. What is the basis for this? Well, the only hook she's got to hang her hat on is that she's got a lot of belts. The question, of course, is who does she win them against? And 4 of those belts come in the heavyweight division. By the way, when I say 17 registered heavyweights, Lani Daniels has said that she can make 168. She would prefer it if the fight was down, because she holds a 175 belt. She said, I can still make 168. So, it's very, very rare that you get women that are that big and are professional athletes, boxers. They normally, the super middleweights are probably the equivalent of the cruiserweights or the heavyweights in the women's game. But Claressa made this, stupid comment, and I am close to being compared to Muhammad Ali. Now, look, I'm aware that people soup up their profile and their image, and they talk a load of absolute drivel in order to propel themselves into the public eye. Most recently, of course, Tyson Fury did it. Said anything that he felt would get a reaction, and in one sense it succeeded. All the crap that came out of his mouth, all the gaslighting, all the guff, all the piss and wind, it actually did propel him to being a big star, as did, a few of his ring accomplishments. The trilogy with Wilder was very entertaining. The victory over Vladimir Klitschko was very good. I think that's about it as far as his resume is concerned. Dillian White, maybe, although Dillian had been knocked out 2 fights previously by Povetkin, even though he got his revenge. So I understand that people can, soup themselves up. And let's not forget, of course, the real Muhammad Ali, when he was a very young man, was saying, I am the greatest. And, of course, people were sneering at him. What do you mean you're the greatest? This kid coming along and saying he's the greatest. Turns out he was right, in terms of heavyweights anyway. Although Ali did say later on in interviews, I didn't believe I was the greatest. I just said it. I said it before I knew it. Because I think how he phrased it, I'm paraphrasing probably. But look, I understand that fighters do talk a load of stuff. They may even believe it. Maybe Claressa believes this. But the thing about Claressa Shields is the thing about any other sort of narcissist or self-obsessed person. They will completely ignore any negatives and dismiss them. In fact, they'll go as far as to say, if you raise any negatives, you're a hater, because that's the word in the modern world. You're a hater because you criticize someone. Again, belongs in the playground, the sort of thing that in my generation, 9-year-olds would say to each other, that sort of mentality. But it's mainstream amongst adults now. And it's not surprising in the case of Claressa that she adopts this attitude. Other narcissists do it. Trump does it an awful lot. As another perfect example. But, any kind of criticism means you're absolutely opposed to them. You may support them, but you think, actually, I think you're wrong about that, that, and that. And then it becomes what? You think, I'm not your friend anymore. Are you saying I'm no good? No, I'm saying that I agree with a lot of what you say, but on this point, I think you're wrong. So with Claressa Shields, I would say Claressa Shields is a very good female fighter, a very good fighter. I don't think she's the greatest woman ever. She's in the argument, certainly in the argument, and she's done a lot for women's boxing. But other fighters have done more, Taylor and Serrano being the obvious examples. There are, of course, women who paved the way for what this current incarnation of women's boxing. People like Christine Martin, Lucia Reicher, Anne Wolfe. These were very, very good fighters who didn't really have a great deal of opponents worth fighting, but they nevertheless propelled women's sport forward. It is the old standing on the shoulders of giants, and taking everything evolution-wise a stage further. But to simply say that you're comparable to Muhammad Ali when you break, I'm not going to do it now, but you break down the opponents that Claressa has faced and the complete lack of knockouts. What has she got? 3 knockouts in however many fights, and the fact that, she's very fast, she's very aggressive, but technically there are clear flaws there. In no shape or form is she comparable to Muhammad Ali. And I can't think of any female fighter that would, in terms of skill and talent and technique, compared to Ali. There are some very, very good female fighters, but comparable to Ali in terms of either in the ring achievements or out of the ring influence, no, of course not. So I'll probably take a look at the fight, this undisputed heavyweight title fight tonight. I'll probably have a look at it, but it doesn't really interest me. I'll run this channel, so people are going to say, where's your review of Shields versus Daniels? I suppose I've got to do one then. Anyway, look, let me know what you think. Where do you stand on this business? Are there any female fighters you would compare to Muhammad Ali? Are any of them worthy of being put in that argument? Let me know. Comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the like button. And as always, thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.